Happy Wednesday, Valerie Hunt with RunRx and Ask Me Anything. So we had a couple, of course, really good questions, which I appreciate. And one of the questions that we're going to talk about today was really, of course, since I'm run pain-free, pain comes up quite a bit. So it was an interesting thing, and I wanted to say this might be really beneficial because whether you're suffering from a Shin splint, IT band, these common injuries, or plantar fasciitis, I'm going to show you that what's interesting is many people unfortunately think that the pain and the injury is coming from what they call their foot strike. So I want to help you with, one, let's explain what is the foot strike and how you really want to think about a different perception of when you're running. Because think about striking, the word itself, strike, is hit. So if you were saying to me, I would like to strike, then in my mind you're saying I would like to hit. Which if we were going to fight, maybe, but I don't want to fight with you, and I don't want you to fight with the ground. So if your thought is, I have to control my foot strike, you see, you've already said to yourself, I need to hit the ground. Not consciously, guys, this is just a thought. So then I go buy these shoes, and they're telling me they're going to help me to control my motion, if you will, whatever it is on the shoe. So then people think, well, because I get this all the time from you guys. People say to me, hey, Valerie, I'm watching your videos, and my hip still hurts. And actually, guys, I showed you a picture. Had somebody reach out, and then she got a gait analysis, and she was simply, instead of pulling, she was thinking about her foot strike. And so first you have to kind of have a conversation of, I didn't realize even I was doing that, but actually, yeah, I guess I am thinking about foot strike because so many people say to me, I'm trying to land on the ball of my foot. Well, then you're landing. Landing, striking, you see? It's all down. We want to run. I want to run. So I've never in my life played, football or some of these sports. But when you play sports, they have all these drills. They're called quick feet drills. And the coach, soccer, track and field, football, you name it, they're all doing it. And the coach is saying things like this: pick up your feet, pick up your feet. He's not saying to them, put your foot on the ground, put your foot on the ground. When your foot's on the ground, you're not moving. You're right here, standing still. So keep in mind that if I'm looking to put my foot down, then I'm looking for the ground. And if I'm looking for the ground, then I'm not running, I'm grounding. And I was that person too, so I'm not laughing. I'm just like, it's the reality of what, unfortunately, we start to do. Instead, now, let's say we were all hanging out, and I was like, hey, who thinks they can jump and touch the ceiling? Well, I don't know if I can or not, but I'd try, right? I'll try it. And then we think, what's my thought? My thought is to get up there. How am I going to get up there? Well, I can't extend to get there. I still can't get there. So what's my next step? Jump. You see? It's a natural thing to jump, to think, reach, extend, right? So if we were trying to run by getting up here, that would make sense, but that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to go this way. So then we're like, okay, well, how do I get there? So then we do this. Problem is, now what? My whole body weight is all still behind me. So you're like, well, shoot, I'm here. Where's the rest of my body? Back here. So then you take your back foot and you go, push. And then you took all your weight and you pushed it against your knee, by the way. Your knee, your calf, your hamstring, your hip. They just took all of your weight and went, and then my leg is still, wait, I'm exaggerating a bit. But your leg then is back here. So now I just did this. Landed, kicked back. And then here I am, going nowhere, having to wait, by the way. Now, what's going to bring my leg to me? My hip. So then what's going to happen? This. This is what most people are doing in their run, but they don't understand that. So then, like, by the way, someone sent me a gait analysis they went and had at a shoe store. Shoe trigger. They gave her, first of all, It's very hard to do a gait analysis on a treadmill. I can certainly do that for you. But if you're actually training and getting ready to run outside, you should have someone, even if they could only run right here, I could analyze your form just running by me, just so you know. And any good running coach should be able to. They had not only not shown her running pose, they told her she pronated. What does that even mean? And then here's the answer. Here, buy these shoes that you're going to get at the running shoe store, and then that will correct your movement. They never told her how to run. What is that? They didn't explain to her what that even means. So you understand that we're learning words that don't even make sense. If you're pronated on the ground and your foot lands like that, the problem is your foot is out in front of you, not that you're pronating. Does that make sense? It really doesn't matter if my foot's like this, my foot's like this, even if my foot's like this, who cares? It's in the wrong place. It needs to be here. So what's the first step is to help someone see first, what's your running pose? Because what if she was running like this and she's like, my back hurts? They took a picture of her feet and said, you have pronation, buy these shoes. And she goes back out and she's like, oh, my feet feel great in my new shoes, but man, my back's still hurting. You see what I mean? It starts with, what do I look like when I touch down on the ground? Am I in alignment? Ears, shoulders, hips, lifted ankle, one line. I don't know, I have to see you. But it's simple to practice. There's only one running pose, commonly referred to, by the way, as the figure 4. Thigh bone points down, ankle is under the hip, straight, well, bent knee on this leg, but the standing leg is what makes the base. So I'm a 4. But if I never practice this, how do I know I need to be here? You see what I mean? I didn't know there was a running pose either, guys. So then, here I am practicing my running pose. And then I learned that acceleration is actually gravity. Sprinters do this naturally, just so you know. In sprinting, it's not really talked about, but all of them understand because they do what? They start here already. They're falling way faster, way more, right? Distance runners, we don't get this kind of training. So then, falling is acceleration, so I have to learn to free fall, which is scary because I'm standing here and I'm thinking, I don't even want to fall, do I? Yes, you do. And when you kind of accept that and then you allow it to happen, free fall and pull. You see? And where am I? Back in the running pose. Pose, fall, pull. It's one cycle. Fall, pull. You will start to have to pull your foot to keep up with your falling body, and that builds your wheel, like your tire, you're spinning. That's your spin. That wheel will continue spinning if I do nothing with my foot that's lifted. I can only talk to the foot on the ground. So if I talk to this foot and simply pull it when I need to, what's this foot going to do? What's going to drop? What's bringing that lifted foot down? Gravity. Let it do that. It's happy to do it for you, I promise. It will win every time, but if you try to do it, if you try to take this foot down, there's 3 times your body weight. And the ground isn't very nice. Like for every action, there's an equal response, right? You guys know that. So if I hit the ground like that, guess what it does back to me? Right back at me. 2 forces colliding. Not a good thing, right? It's called impact. It's called impact. Running is a high impact sport. That's never going to change, right? Now, it's not a contact sport, say like football, where I'm actually trying to hit another person. I'm hitting what? Hopefully not, but the ground, right? So I want to reduce the amount of impact. I can't make it no impact, but I can reduce the amount of impact if I allow 2 things. 1, my body to free fall, and 2nd, to pull my foot. If I pull my foot and do nothing else, the lifted foot will drop right under me. And then all I have to do is pull it again. You got to keep your knees bent for that to happen. So I'm seeing quite a bit of, okay. Sure, great question, thank you. I'm gonna ask. I got 3 questions and 1 just came up. So Erin, I'm gonna answer your question. Okay, great question. She said, can you please explain the difference of pulling the foot and using the foot versus the hamstring. Okay, yes, I can answer that question. So first of all, let's just talk about our hamstring. So our hamstring, of course, is back here. Very nice muscle. It's your running muscle. This is the medial part of the hamstring, meaning the middle, okay? So what the hamstring does is it closes the leg. See? My hamstring closes the leg. When I'm running and I'm going to pull my foot, okay? The hamstring, look, if you put your hand here, my hamstring is actually what's, you see? However, right, you're first, meaning when the foot pops up from the ground, pulls up, I want you to think, boop, right? It's coming up. The touch, it touches down, gravity. You're right. The hamstring is what brings it off the ground. So if you simply hop for a second, okay, just for a second, and you feel for just a second that up feeling, right? In place, you're doing that. You control that, and you can sense like I'm waiting, using my hips, but it's very much calves, right? My hamstring's not doing anything right now. If I simply do this with my foot and lift with my own body weight, lifting my heels, then these guys are doing the work, okay? So I have to get you very comfortable with, you pick up the foot, but it's with the hamstring, see? And it's very slight, but we practice really big, right? Because I want you to sense it and feel it. I want you to feel what the hamstring does. Now, let's just, real quick, for fun. I want you to take your leg and straighten it. Okay, can you do that for me, guys? Take your leg and extend it, straighten it. Now, use your hamstring to pull. You can't. You can't. Your leg is locked. The only thing now I can use is like my entire hip. You see? I can swing my hip, but the hamstring can only work in the way we want it to if the knee is bent. Now, just so you know, when you leave the ground and you try to extend, because people think this is a hamstring, it's an active hamstring, meaning this action here, butt kicking, is great if we want to do strength for the hamstring drills, but in running, it's like putting a 30-pound weight on the leg, because if I run and I try to use a kick, then I look like this, kick. So did my hamstring load? You bet. Look how loaded it is, like a 30-pound weight. But how can I now get my ankle to under my hip? My hamstring's already here. It's already done. You see, I now have to use my hip. So here's what's so important, just to understand the hamstring. The hamstring's the bicep of the leg. If you load it, say like put a weight on it, this is called an active hamstring contraction. If you try to do that in running, you will hurt yourself, because instead of, we have to be very careful with this. I'm asking you to use the hamstring to pull the foot, but only 10%. 100%, 10%. In practice, it's for you to feel that that's what the hamstring does. So you really only need to pull to here, but in practice we have to exaggerate, because we're practicing, so it's exaggerated. But if you practice exaggerated pulling in place, then watch. If I'm going to run, I'm just going to make it a smaller pull, I simply fall and pull the foot. You see? That's all I'll ever do. Look how relaxed my foot is. My foot's relaxed, my calves are relaxed. From the rest, pretend I'm in the air right now. Okay? I just pulled my foot up. You see, I let go of everything. Everything's relaxed. My body's going this way. The hamstring reflex will finish the pull. That's what's so crazy. And then people have asked me, what's a hamstring reflex? Well, it's just like your bicep reflex, right? Have you ever done that? Gone to the doctor where they'll test this one, right? They'll do a little ping, right? And your leg goes, whee! It's not you doing that. It's called a reflexive response of the muscle. So in running, well, this is my arm, but it's a lot easier to show you. I can do it this way. As soon as I pull my foot, hamstring finishes the pull. Again, it's just anatomy, but to understand that, so in place it's you, right, active, but in running, it's only this much. But I would encourage you to get a really good relationship with your hamstring. So you understand, that's it. Does it feel like more effort than that? Maybe, depending on the run, but you're never gonna feel that when you run because you are simply breaking contact with the ground, only using 10% of that hamstring. Isn't that great? How do you develop that? Just do what I'm just doing right now. I do big full pulls, right, to feel, to exaggerate, and then I just do my smaller pulls. And even in my drills, I'm always doing quick change of support. Because the better we feel at change of support, that when I'm running, I pull, and then I'm pulling again. And you're working all the time, you're running. Up, 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 up. But not thinking that my feet are helping me to travel, right? Because if my feet are traveling me, or trying to, then whoa, I'm gonna be tired, because I can, I'm not going anywhere. It's, let it go. You've got to fall. The pull is a response to your fall. Then it like feels so light and quick. In the beginning, some people are a little nervous. Might not be working in that, right? We're so used to these active contractions, pumping our arms and driving and reaching. Whew, let it go. And then I always tell people, imagine a sprinter, or even these elite marathoners. They're breaking now. Like, I mean, it's now normal for people to run 2:04, 2:05 marathons. The women are all running in the 2:20s, right? Can you imagine if they tried to control every muscle contraction that quickly? There's no way. What are they doing when they run? They've naturally found their ability to hold their pose and fall. And they are simply pulling to keep up the timing of when they need to pull. So go back and watch some of these runners and look at it differently. Count out loud. Up, up, up. Watch it, because what you see with your eyes is so much more work. But imagine they're allowing their muscles to work when they need. Guys, these guys are efficient. Same with sprinters. You know, some of them 250, 300 cadence for their run. Maybe it's a 100-meter sprint. Can you imagine if they tried to actively pull their foot all the way to here 300 times, right? They know. Like, they pull their foot, guys, and they are immediately pulling their other one, and all that stuff that we see, that leg extension, all of this happening is natural responses of the muscle. You have them too. So you can have some fun with seeing that, but that's such a great question, because yes, you are pulling with your hamstring. Okay, any advice on meniscal tear? And any advice for sprinting with the catch the ankle drill? Okay, meniscus tears. Sorry to hear it. Yes. Actually, I have a runner right now. She's just did a half Ironman. She has a pretty good meniscus tear. We avoid sudden lateral movements. But this is really cool, guys. So the running method I teach is called pose method. And it is the only method that's approved as a CEU for physical therapy. Purely because of that reason. Because the least amount of stress is done to all of the joints. The knee especially, because unfortunately it takes the most in running. So imagine if you had a meniscus tear and you're pushing, all of my body weight now, pushing, and then you landed 3 times your body weight, 1,500 steps a minute. Even if you didn't have a meniscus tear, still the damage is happening. So now I'm going to take that away. You're going to leave the knee bent, which saves the joint. Having that bent knee means it's relaxed. Working, relaxed. Working, relaxed. You want that joint relaxed. You want your muscles to be able to work in response to movement, right? Or know that, yes. And even when you're walking, pull. To start getting in the habit of I'm going to hold my shoulders over my hips, allow gravity to do some of the work, and I'm going to start using more hamstring and let my hips, my quads, do their job without asking them to work more. Because if I'm asking my hip to reach, guess what? Now my shoulders are behind my hips. Now I've got weight on my lower back. So now I'm like hip, knee, lower back. Hip, knee, lower back. You see? But if I hold my ears, shoulders, hips in line, walking or running or sitting, then I'm reducing load. I want to deload. I want to unweight. I want to unload off that knee. Always. So take that body weight. Give it away. You see? And your feet will naturally be lighter and your knees will be so happy, I promise. much more happy than taking, just imagine if I'm loading, then just load. You see, there goes my knee. Load, load, load. If I'm putting my foot down, walking or running, okay? So once you deload and unweight a foot, and just again, small muscle contractions, that's what saves the joints and saves your energy, right? The second question was, are the catch the ankle drills good for sprinters? Yes, and 1,000%. Think about it. If my foot's here, my upper body's here. I'm not in a line. I'm not in my figure four. This, figure four. This falling. You will naturally be doing that better in your running. And you know, this is fun for Valerie. So in my training for 21 years, we used to always use Usain Bolt as our example. Now I use Eliud Kipchoge a lot because he's so good too. There's some great women we use. But we use them because there's not a lot of people that have what's like a perfect form. If I was a swim coach, I'd probably use Michael Phelps, you know, someone that's like obviously got a very good technique. And then you're developing what's called a standard, right? Meaning if there's a standard of movement, so if we know the running pose is the running pose, then why would it make sense to put my foot back here instead of putting it where it's supposed to be? Because, for example, Usain Bolt is on the ground for less than a frame of a less than one frame, less than 1/10 of a second. And he, in fact, used to be able to pull his foot before it was even on the ground. That's how in tune this guy was. That is pure skill. That is amazing talent, and I mean, huge amounts of respect. We use that because it's so nice to see someone in their natural, having that natural technique. Never once, guys, is he pushing or reaching or extending. However, the eye sees it. When people watched him run, they would say that. He reaches, he pushes. He really doesn't. If you go back and watch his videos, even when he's coming off the block, that knee is still bent when he pulls. And his pose is incredible. It's amazing. And he'll still, like, he doesn't teach running. He's like, I did it. So go back and look at some of these and realize that, yes, most runners, when they come on the ground, their first frame in sprinting especially, their foot, yes, might be here, but it has to come back to here. This part of the contraction is not you, it's a reflexive. So if you're simply practicing the catch the ankle, I promise you, your foot is as high as it needs to be. So in the split second, when you're here, it will recover right back to here. But if you think that it's supposed to be here, and you do butt kicks, then that unfortunately will cause you to be late. So yeah, I mean, think about it. If I'm supposed to always be in the running pose, by the way, 22.5 degrees is your range. 0 to 22.5 is the range of falling of acceleration. Bolt in his prime, 21.5. It's insane. Okay, Valerie prime, 10. Maybe. You see? But most people are using 0. Isn't that amazing? Not the elite sprinters, absolutely, you're falling. But in distance running, many runners are not using the available speed they have potential to use simply because they misunderstand running. So I see it from the recreation to elite level. And I just want you guys to know that even if you fell 2 degrees, and right now you're falling with 0, it would be an incredible amount of increase in your efficiency, in your pace, and reduce stress off those joints. So it's not about me wanting you to run faster. It's about me wanting you to reduce energy and impact in your run. That's really what I'm about. All right, I will let you guys go. You know I can go on all day. Please, if you're hurting, take the free quiz on our website. If you are not hurting, but you're getting back into running, or you're like, what is this lady talking about? You can go to our YouTube channel. We have a 30-day reboot. It's a lot of fun. It takes you through the practice and then some skills, some strength, some self-care to continue the practice. And of course, if you want to go all in, come into the membership, 12 weeks of coaching, you get gait analysis, video check-ins, it's all for you. It's for you to make sure that not only are you holding a really nice pose, but you're also falling and pulling at whatever rate you want. Whatever you want. My goal is for you to run pain-free, primary goal. Then the secondary goal becomes your event. I will prepare you for your event. But first, I want to prepare you for running. So please keep the questions coming. I love it. Thank you guys for your support. And like I said, go try the stages in the YouTube channel. Go check out the quiz if you've got a little twinge. If you want to geek out and read, go read the Pose book. But I'll tell you what, there's some good stuff out there for you guys for running. So thank you.